How's it going? Mike here, The Fresh Rinse, on location in Moody, Alabama. For the weekend, I'm kind of trapped in this hotel room, at least for the remainder of the evening. Tomorrow, I'll get up, I'll head back home. I'm in town, as I do every year on this weekend, for an old school BMX bike show and swap meet. Absolutely amazing. Catch up with some old friends and talk BMX. It's always a good time. I want to make this video while I have the time and the ability to do so in a very unique way, or at least unique to me. I'm going to answer not so much a rebuttal, but an answer to one of my critics. And let me say, by critic, I mean someone who's probably trying to help me, and I'm taking it that way. At the end of the video, I'll further explain what I mean by that. But recently I had one of our followers, who gave some helpful advice in a critical kind of way. And I want to respond to that. That might be a better word, a response to some criticism that someone gave me. And the guy's name, or at least his call sign on YouTube, is Just a Kid Trying to Make It. So, Just a Kid Trying to Make It, this video is for you. And then again, at the end of the video, I'm going to respond in detail about how I like to view those who do not necessarily view me in a good light. So we'll talk about that here in just a few moments. His main criticism, or at least the platform of his main criticism, was that he found it impossible to believe that I could do quality work in a short amount of time. If you follow my channel, you know that I try to do 4 to 6 opportunities, as I call them, every day. That's not always full house washes. Most of the time it's 3 or 4 house washes and a couple of driveways, something like that, or decks or roofs or what have you, but a variety or a plethora of opportunities that allow me to make budget in a single day. And I'm blessed to have those opportunities. You can't do that unless you're getting the calls coming in. And right now, I'm probably around 50% of the quotes that I give, I land those opportunities, and then I manage in some way, by God's grace, to wash those homes or those properties, and I do it in a very efficient manner. Just a Kid Trying to Make It finds it hard to believe that I can do that in an hour or so. An hour or so is what I would say is my average time on a typical 2-story house wash. And what we're going to see today is not necessarily a typical 2-story house wash. This house wash is considerably larger, and it took me, and I'll kind of reveal this to you right from the get-go, this took me about an hour and a half, and that counts talking to customers, doing all manners of property protection, watering plants, and of course the full house wash, including laddering up, as he said in a couple of his comments. So he found it hard to believe that I could do all of those things by myself in an hour and a half or less. Now, I need to qualify some of his comments. In all fairness, in the video that I received these comments from Just a Kid Trying to Make It, I believe it was one of the videos where I did 7 or more stops, opportunities, in one day. In one of those opportunities, I actually washed a home in about 30 minutes. And again, to qualify that, there was no property protection. I was doing no brick work. It was all vinyl, and minimal vinyl at that. In the end, it took me about 30 minutes. The homeowner paid full price for the full house wash, because that's what I quoted. And he completely understood the scope of the work. He was fine that there was no brick work to be done and no concrete work. And yeah, in fact, I think he even gave me a 5-star Google review. So when it's all said and done, everyone was happy except for Just a Kid Trying to Make It. So I want to kind of take you on the journey of a full house wash. We're going to hit the pause button every now and again just to talk through a few things. And then once again, at the end, I'm going to give an explanation of how I respond to my critics. So let's get into this video. All right, so at this point we see that it is just about 10 minutes before the hour of 10 on this particular morning. By this point, I had already hooked up my supply hose, pulled out about 150, maybe 200 feet of pressure hose. I'd done some property protection here, including the keyholes, which just a kid trying to make it said that there's no way that I could do that. I don't always. In fact, I want to pause here for just a second and talk about property protection for just a moment. I don't always do that amount of property protection. In fact, I'll go on record and say I only tape up outlets if they are necessary. More often than not, I will carry the tape with me and I will tape up outlets and keyholes and things of that nature if they need it as I go. And so I get that this individual probably with he and his helper, he said he has a helper or at least a partner, a tandem team there who are washing properties together. And he says it usually takes about 3 hours, including property protection. And that makes sense if you're going to walk all the way around the house in preparation for washing the house and taping up everything. I don't do it that way. I do it as I go, as needed. So I want to be fair to just a kid trying to make it, let you know in advance, I rarely do extensive property protection. Let's get back into it. So we see it is a rather large home, very wooded area. It looks like Gilligan's Island back here. Cool deck feature that that this homeowner has. And speaking of the homeowner, I thought I was going to get away without talking to the homeowner. They came home just as I was finishing up. They were at a cardiologist appointment. I'm not the best at wrapping up those garage door openers, but I do it and I managed to do it. So you can see the home is very, very dirty. In particular, this section of the house was extremely dirty, but also the brick just to the left was tragic. We'll see that here in just a few moments. Now, just a kid trying to make it suggested that I never ladder up. You can see here that I do in fact have a ladder. And I will pause here for just a second and say when I was talking to the homeowner afterwards, he was not pleased at all that I had gotten on the roof. If you quote a complete house wash, you should wash the entire home. In particular, if you have qualified the job as such and the homeowner understands that. So this particular home has a section above the garage that required me to get on the roof. And while I was up there, I sprayed the valleys and cleared them of those little whirly birds. That was a recommendation from the homeowner. The only way to do that was to get on the roof. So here you see we spray as much as we can from the ground, getting on the roof where we have to. This portion of brick was absolutely filthy. Here in just a few moments when we do our final walk around, you'll see that it was in fact cleaned pristinely, as we might say. So there's a bird's nest up there. We got that down, and that's the only way really to clean those ledges was to climb the ladder. Here we are on the roof above the garage, taking the time to clean every nook and cranny. And again, we quoted a complete house wash, so that's what we're going to give them. Thank God for the Flow Pro, which allows us to do this in a very efficient manner from the roof without getting down to have to turn the rinse on. And so here we are cleaning out these gutter sections which the homeowner requested, and then we take our skills down to the ground and to the east side of the home. We rinse all of the vegetation and then we begin washing the home. Now, the brick wasn't terribly dirty, but I quoted the brick, and so I'm washing the brick. The rest of the home was vinyl, as you can see. It was considerably dirty, and of course we took time to clean every square inch of the vinyl. The gutters as well, they were hideous. Can't really see that in the video. They were terrible, and the homeowner was very well pleased. Now, I always do a freebie if I can find something that's minimal and I can do it in a reasonable amount of time. And this time I cleaned this little pad here that was not requested, and we do that again, try to find something free to do. And you have to move these things, as you saw me there in the video, because right behind that little planter was a section of the home that was very, very dirty. Here we see this backside of the home, again dirty, very dirty. We're going to clean all of this. I should tell you that I'm operating with my 10-gallon-a-minute machine, which produces, of course, downstreaming at about 1%. We're using 12.5% sodium hypochlorite mix with 0 surfactant. So notice those 3 ledges, impossible to get without a ladder. However, in a few moments, you'll see I did ladder up, got on top of that section of the roof, and I was able to clean those ledges very easily. Let me remind you, I now have, as of today, 232 5-star Google reviews. I'm quite confident that my homeowners would not do that if they weren't pleased with my work. So here you see we laddered up on this west side of the home, the rear west side of the home, so that we could not only get that portion that can't even be seen from the ground, much less is the homeowner going to climb up there. But again, we quoted the home, the entire home, so we're going to clean the entire home. And from here, we can get those 3 ledges that normally we would have to ladder up in order to clean. While there, you can't see it in the video, but they have 2 skylights on this portion of the roof, and I was able to clean those 2 skylights from the top of the roof here. Then we move to the extreme west side of the home, and this is when the homeowner came home. This homeowner conversation took about 10 minutes altogether. Doing our little walk around, you can see that the home is pristine, including the front porch that was not requested. And this is the front of the home. Everything came out great, including all of the ledges. You can see the east side of the home, including the foundation, looks absolutely wonderful. And you'll notice some paint on the door. I thought perhaps that was organic growth. Turns out it was paint. We weren't asked to get that off, so we didn't. If we move around to the back of the home, you can see I took a few minutes to clean off the deck. Just a few minutes, just a real brief cleaning there. The rear of the home, pristine here. That's the area where we laddered up. And then let's have a little conversation with the homeowner. We'll come back and we'll talk about how to answer our critics. I really appreciate the opportunity. It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
If you need anything, you give me a call.
Yeah?
She's gonna be all right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, she's had pains for the last month, chest pains. And so the doctor found something on her, EKG, took her in, and they ran all, pushed the dye in the veins on the heart and everything, took pictures and said, nothing there. So what the hell do you do now? Now apparently she's got an oversized aorta that's starting, expand, so I don't know.
All right, so here we see about an hour and a half it took to clean this home with one person, and I'm confident that just a kid trying to make it can find some flaws here. He can pick out some things and say, well, I would have done this, I would have done this differently, I would have done this better, you didn't have to do this, you could have done that, and there are exceptions to every rule, and I'm quite confident that if this gentleman, just a kid trying to make it, and I were to meet, we would probably hit it off very well. I tend to believe that he probably has a spirit of excellence about him that anyone would desire, and certainly I would want him to clean my home. So how do I answer my critics? I answer my critics with great respect. Here's what I believe. In life, if we dismiss our critics, we are dismissing opportunities to learn and to grow. It's kind of like eating fish. You eat the meat and you spit out the bones. But you don't spit everything out. There are things that our critics have to say about us that, if true, we need to take in, digest, allow it to season within our hearts and our minds so that we can become better at every facet of our life. Elvis Presley said this, 50 million Elvis fans can't all be wrong. And he was right. He was that good. And so if our critics are speaking into our lives, it could be that the good Lord puts them there so that we can grow and so that we can become a better version of ourselves. So that's how I answer or respond to my critics. I listen to them. I try to take in the things that they say, discover the truth of the matter if there's truth to be discovered, and then apply those truths. So Here's what I think. Just a kid trying to make it. I have a feeling that you care for me, you care for my business, and you care for my customers. Know this, you do not care for them as much as I care for them. And so, what do I think about that? I say bring it on, because it only helps me, and I think you probably care for me, so I appreciate that. So we may do this from time to time. When we see that our critics have things to say, we're going to listen to them and apply the truths that we discover in their criticism. So, all right, if you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. Hit the bell tab. You'll never miss another video. My name is Mike. They call me the Fresh Rinse, and I'm out.